Metal Scholars. Today we analyze Dark Signs by Sleep Token. And the lyrics, they open this nostalgic feeling, an environment that could have been literally or metaphorically dark. He sings, "Where I was raised, there was no streetlights." Let me just give it a try here. Oh, actually, it begins with the keyboard, right? I mean, it begins with like something like this. Where I was raised, there was no street lights, just pitch black and passing headlights, right? So it suggests this isolation, perhaps a lack of guidance or stability, right? It indicates that the protagonist, the past might have been bleak, lonely. The absence of streetlights can also symbolize a path of life that is unlit, uncertain, fraught with unseen challenges. And what's interesting about the part is the headlights, right? Moments of clarity, moments of hope. These moments are fleeting, and ultimately they leave the protagonist in the dark again. And you have these quick bursts of light that just pass by. So you see how cinematic this gets? It's really incredible. And the lyrics then, they transition to the protagonist's relationship with another person. It could be a parent, a deity, right? It could be sleep, whoever. We'll never know, but it's we do have the words of the song. And where we met, there must have been dark signs, omens in your skies, right? So something like, and where we met, there must have been dark signs, omens in your skies. So these are warnings, right? Perhaps a premonition of trouble. The use of dark signs and omens, they introduce this feeling of foreboding. It's a relationship that might be doomed from the get-go, might be troubled from the start. So omens in your skies could be a very poetic way of suggesting that there were early signs that could convey the impending doom, right? The trouble, the significant change detect early in that interaction. Bad omens brought by comets or the eclipse of the sun, cloud formations. It's just a metaphor that works really well. The emotional core of the song emerges clearly as Vessel sings about interactions with sleep. So you have a phrase, most days you reach for safety, right? So if we were to play the acoustic guitar here, it could be like, most days you reach for safety. Remain calm, forget that you know me. Whoa, whoa, right? So this part here, it speaks about a dynamic where sleep and the other agent, perhaps they seek to protect themselves from the intensity, from the toxicity of their connection, right? So it suggests this relationship where one party feels the need to distance themselves to maintain their peace. The relationship maybe doesn't exist or is just one-sided. So that's some heavy stuff. There's a vocal melody with the recurring lines. I might break and bend to my basic need to be loved and close to somebody, right? So it's something like, I might break and bend to be need to be loved and close to somebody. In the end, right? I mean, in the back. So in my opinion, this is an admission of vulnerability, dependency. So they're opening up. And these lines, they reveal that the protagonist, he's got deep-seated fears, desires. It reflects this fundamental human longing for connection and affection, even if it means compromising your well-being or your identity. The new scars that I didn't ask for, right? The new scars that I didn't ask for. So that could be interpreted both literally and metaphorically, but I think literally it could point to those physical reminders of distress, right? So the protagonist is experiencing stress, and but I think I'm gonna pick a metaphorical journey here. So that could represent emotional or psychological scars, maybe inflicted by the relationship, by the interaction, wounds, right? The protagonist will carry that reminder of these painful experiences. So Would you call asking for answers? Tear my arms off. So the phrase, would you call? Tear my arms off. Wow, that's desperation, destructiveness, right, of the relationship. So that suggests, despite the pain that it's causing, the singer, Vessel in this case, he seeks engagement. He seeks understanding, closure from sleep or from whoever. So it's such a pain, such a burden. Most days you reach for safety. Remain calm, forget that you know me. Whoa, whoa. And when we met, whoa, whoa. And when we met, I could see dark signs, alarm bells in your eyes. So that repetition, most days you reach for safety, remain calm, forget that you know me. It reinforces the theme of self-preservation, emotional distance that the other person maintains, right? It's the line, when we met, I could see the dark signs, the alarm bells in your eyes. So that's revisiting that initial sign of danger, that premonition that things would go south. It was already there. There's danger if you jump in the water. Oh, okay. I'm going to dive regardless. And then we get to the chorus, right? The chorus, I'm going to try to do it here. It's, and I miss the man I was, the moment we left off. I hate who have become. Every time I wake up, something like that. And I miss the man I was the moment we left off. So the line reflects a poignant sense of nostalgia, regret, and in this context, the singer is expressing longing for the person that, they had significant relationships in the past. And it's a specific moment in time, likely right before significant changes occurred in his life. And the lyric, they can be interpreted indicating emotional states. For example, the loss of identity, right? I miss the man that I was, right? So, I miss the man I was. I'm kind of losing my identity. The singer is just mourning a lost version of himself, a more, let's say, whole before the relationship evolved or ended. So that suggests events that possibly are related to the regrets. They're feeling like sorrow and all that stuff. So another one is change triggered by relationships, right? You got an impact, profound impact on identity and self-perception. The chorus, they might imply that the relationship had such a huge effect on him, and he feels disconnected from the person that he used to be, right? Before he began to reach for that person. So now we have this turning point suggesting that he views the changes as negative. He lost aspects of himself in the past that he valued. So that could be also a nostalgia for simpler terms, often looking back at the moment that we left off, evoking the sense of longing for a time perceived as less complicated, happier. The perfect hint, in my opinion, that they've developed the idea of take me back to Eden, because now things are very complicated, painful. But in the past, now I'm yearning for that past when we lived in Eden, in paradise. We hadn't experienced hardship or pain. And the next lines are very poignant, right? I hate who I have become every time. I hate who I have become every time I wake up. Because he says I hate who I have become every time I wake up. Right? So really, really cool stuff. So powerful. It encapsulates this transformation that Vessel feels within himself, a transformation that he views obviously negatively, and the negativity is internalized, and the lyrics will extend the theme of self-reflection, transformation, there's a deep dissatisfaction and perhaps self-loathing, right? So in conclusion, the song's lyrics, they weave this beautiful tapestry, amazing combinations of hardship, troubled relationships, deep-seated need for love and for connection. And they reveal the ways in which our past experiences, our past environment changes our identity and our behavior, often in ways that are very painful and challenging. Through vivid imagery and poignant metaphors, the song speaks about the universal human connection, the universal human experience, grappling with shadows. There's this idea of light, dark, and shadows. So you seek light from the past and through interpersonal connection. So often a painful journey towards self-awareness and healing. It's a narrative about someone who is confronting their past in the pursuit of understanding that with others, there are many opportunities for us to know more about ourselves. And that does it for me, Metal Scholars. What's your take on this song? Do you listen to it often? I think it's one of the best songs by Sleep Token. And a couple of days ago, I think last week or something, Will Ramos and Nick Nocturnal, they recorded an amazing cover. And I pasted the link in the description for you to check out. Well, thank you for watching. Please like and share. Please comment. Music is what music does. And I'm signing out. Bye now.